Welcome, the center of light. Are we becoming clear? It's the question I ask myself all the time. Am I becoming clear? Clear enough to where I can see my future. Crystal clear, crystal ball. See a future. Everything is in here. Everything is in here. In your clarity. Without clarity, one, you can't see. Two, you break your foot because you hit it on the furniture. Idea. And three, if there's something in the way, ignorance, fear. Tonight is a powerful presentation, probably the one most important in the form of the depth of my work, going into the divine rabbit hole. I may reveal some things here in just a little bit that I have been keeping secret, not because they're important that I tell you, but it's significant that I share with you the unfoldment of where we are in this living prophecy. This picture right here is an exact match to the Shroud of Turin. Sai Baba, the man I went to see in India, was walking around giving darshan, which means blessings from a holy man. And a lady held up a picture of Jesus, what he could have looked like, a drawing or painting, whatever. And Sai Baba waves his hands over it, and it turns exactly to that. And he says, this is exactly what Jesus looked like. And it will match the Shroud of Turin exactly. Is that something you're able to believe? Simple question. Big answer. Revelation. It reveals everything about you, me, we. Do you believe something as simple as that? That a God-realized man on earth many years ago waved his hand over a drawing of Jesus and created that. He changed it and said, put it to the Shroud of Turin. This is what Jesus looked like as a man. Not what others have depicted him to be. This is what he looked like as a man. So tonight is Center of Light Master. Jesus and the Gospel of Thomas. Thank you, Carmen Shasha, for inspiring me today, by something you sent me in the form of a video by Greg Braden. I got busy. I was at it for hours. Loving every minute of it. So tonight is Jesus and the Gospel of Thomas. I did post a donate link if I have helped you shift over the years. Just know it's there. I'm going to be here for a while. What else would I be doing? I love what I do. Do you? Love what you do. Let me make sure everybody can hear everything okay. Everybody can hear everything okay? Give me one exclamation point, maybe one or two of you. Thank you. So I got busy. Worked for hours. Hi, Kelly. So tonight, again, is Jesus and the Gospel of Thomas. All right, let me get my notes. I'm going to be here for a while. Very shortly, I'm going to play a soundbite. It's probably going to be a half hour. I am here for the duration. If you got something you need to do, because you just found out, go do it real quick. If you want to stick around for the entire presentation, it's going to be a while. I'm going to go deep into the divine rabbit hole and find nuggets, not pellets. I don't know where this is going. I got some Gospel of Thomas, that's for sure. And I'm going to read you can listen to an audio bite of an excerpt in audio book form. Spirit is to be the echo voice, the reverb voice, and the Keith is going to be the normal voice. It was fashioned for a Christmas special, so forgive the little Christmas slant. You only hear one little Christmas snippet song. But then again, we're talking about the birth of Christ. In the Gospel of Thomas, which is you and it's me I promise. We're going deep. So you're going to hear about 30 minutes from the divine principle about an experience I had many years ago when I lived in South Louisiana with Christ. This is way before this walk, this spiritual walk. When I was a musician and God was in the closet, this happened to me in such depth and detail that you're going to hear it using the adjectives that I use. It'll tell a lot. And then we're just getting started after that. So here is my revelation. This is told of in the divine principle. That very experience. But there's a lot about Yeshua, Jesus. Enjoy. I invite you to listen open-mindedly, open-heartedly. Just be open to the ideas that will be presented here tonight in this program. All of my life, I've been having visions, experiences with higher level beings. Higher level beings meaning angels, extraterrestrials, avatars. Avatars translates to divine descent, God men, God beings, if you will. And it all brought me to this moment to deliver this message to you. I want to express and share with you that I have no emotional investment other than peace, joy, bliss, happiness, and the highest good for all people that walk on the face of this earth. The stories you're going to hear tonight are not driven by ego or motivation of any agenda whatsoever. This show is not designed to upset you. In fact, it is designed to liberate you. The message I will impart to you tonight is very significant, and you will understand that by the time we come to the end of this broadcast. Tonight's show is in reverence to one of the greatest teachers that has ever lived. Hence, we hear in the movie industry, there was a movie made called The Greatest Story Ever Told. Well, that is not such a past tense idea. It is about the continuation of the life and the incarnation and the presence of the master we know as Yeshua ben Joseph, or Jesus Christ. From my first book, The Divine Principle, Anchoring Heaven on Earth. If you are familiar with the Divine Principle, you know that the book was written in 8 years of meditation from the foundation that God and I are having a dialogue. Keep that in mind as you hear what I'm about to express to you in the form of my life's work. Christ Jesus was a prime example of supreme living during his time upon earth. By living a life of righteousness and peace, he was able to make a powerful impact and a profound difference. Some 2,000 years later, his life is still the standard. He is still the truth, the hope, the light, and the way. His teachings have inspired countless millions to live a pure and love-filled life, thus creating the energy needed for the whole world to shift. Jesus searched for God his entire early life, walking the land believing he was only a messenger. But as an adult, when he visited the Himalayan monasteries, he learned from the masters who lived there to seek God within himself. And he came to the realization that the external world was only a kaleidoscopic picture interpreted by his own mind. His pilgrimage was of great success in that it helped him to realize that he was no longer just a messenger of God, but was now the Son of God. I am in my Father, ye in me, and I in you. John 14:20. When Jesus stood upon the hill and spoke to the multitude, the young teacher offered great wisdom, but few believed his words. In fact, many shouted, "Are you the Messiah? If you are the Messiah, then perform a miracle for us." Because of their doubt and fear, people do not realize that the miracle was already there in the form of Jesus. He was there to inform them about their own freedom, their divine nature, and the fact that, indeed, they were no different from him. Can you see how many missed their window of opportunity to reach spiritual liberation because they doubted that he was the Christ? Yes, I can. Why didn't they listen? Because Jesus appeared to be an ordinary man like everyone else. But soon enough, no one could deny his extraordinary presence. Once people believed that he was who he said he was, why didn't they follow him then? Because soldiers, using brute force if necessary, were regularly deployed to bring a halt to all the rabble-rousing that seemed to happen wherever he went. But despite all adversity, Jesus pushed on until the very end. When that day came, Jesus accepted his death freely, thus showing those around him how such an event is not the end of life, but only a transition to another level of being, the infinite and immortal change of the Atma, the spirit. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Genesis 3:19. In the centuries since Jesus' ascension, most have focused upon his death instead of his life and his afterlife. People still seek him on the cross, but he is no longer there. As long as people continue to be bound to that image, they cannot begin to understand the crucifixion metaphor. If you want to be a true follower of Christ, you must take Jesus down from that old rugged cross and move on with your life. Do you not understand that the Lamb was sacrificed then for your liberation now? Let me ask you a question. Does the fact that most in his time doubted that he was the Christed one detract from the truth about the one called Jesus? No, not at all. I would expect that answer from you, Keith, because you are among those who already accepted this 2,000-year-old truth. But know that the cycle of doubt versus truth is happening yet again. Yes, there are many who have inherited the heirloom of doubt from those who questioned Jesus on the hill. Their misgivings echo now as they did then. If you New Agers think that you are messiahs with your I am God view, then perform a miracle for us, they say. I ask each of you, do you want to be as those in Jesus' time, regarded by future generations as one of history's doubters? Your answers matter not, for no amount of doubt can take away the validity of the messiahship appearing now to enlighten you about your freedom, power, and oneness with God. The Divine Principle Chapter, The Return of the Christs. Some believe that Jesus will arrive on a white horse, that his coming will be signaled by the parting of clouds, heralded by the trumpeting of angels. Others believe that Christ will be manifested only in the souls who make themselves available, which is correct. Here is the most accurate way to view the return of Christ. It is not an either-or situation. It would be more correct to say that both these scenarios are facets of the truth. Yes, the white horse is true, but not in the way that many imagine. That prophecy refers to the comet Hale-Bopp that hurtled through space in the 98th year of the last century. The purpose of its trajectory was to give the world an advance sign of the return of the one you have known as Jesus. When will he return? Would you believe me if I told you that he is already on earth? Right now? Yes, he arrived as a child in July of 2000. The white-tailed comet was the metaphorical horse upon which he arrived. You mean, yes, Keith, I mean that the dream experience you had 18 years ago was real. Jesus has been born again as one of you. Time and again over the past few years, I have offered you validation of this, especially when you were in India. Why is this truth so difficult for you to believe and accept? I don't think I can answer your question right now, because of what others might say about you when this book enters the public's field of awareness. Yes, I'm sure that's a major part of it. Keith, I recognize your reservations, but if you have concerns about people's "how dare you" attitude, then the best way to respond to them is with understanding and love. It doesn't seem to matter how many times you tell me. I still worry about that this Jesus is born again idea is something I've concocted in my head. Surely, you can see how nervous I am about this. What is it you are trying to say, Keith? I want to do the right thing. Yes, I know, and your intention to do just that is why I am telling you this. Please tell me again exactly what you would like me to do. Your job is to inform others about Jesus' return as a person. I admit it will not be an easy task because, as we have just spoke of, many have expectations that he will show up in one particular way or another. Will you tell me where he was born this time? Patience, dear one. I shall not be revealing that to you just yet. Right now, it is enough for you to know that his human presence will be integral to divine energies becoming more firmly anchored. Why is he hidden from the public's awareness? There are two reasons. The first is that so he can avoid distractions and unwanted attention as he prepares for his actual appearance. The second is because he is not ready, nor are you. If he goes public too soon, many will not believe their eyes, nor take well to the idea that he has come. Until there has been enough of a shift in clarity and understanding, his entrance will serve no purpose. You see, there is an order to the divine will that must play out in sequence. At the right time, he will set out to help humanity transcend its collective ego by showing you the difference between reality, living in love, and non-reality, living in fear. Thus will the pandemic of fear and greed come to an end. As for Christ manifesting in individuals, well, right now, there are many such active souls on earth, yourself included. Some of you will not only pave the way for the great world teacher whose sole purpose is to give of himself as he did before, but you will also deflect any who would try to thwart his mission. What do you mean? He is Jesus Christ, so doesn't he have the power to protect himself from any adversaries? Oh, you mean the same power he had the last time when he was crucified? I see your point. As I said, each of you have your part to play. God, I pray that I can be in his inner circle, be there with him and for him to help in any way I can. Beloved, you are already in his inner circle and you are being a great help by writing these words you are writing about him. But he is not done with you yet. What do you mean? A few years hence, he will come to you again and give you instructions about further work you are to do. I know your mind must be racing, Keith, but for now, just rest it. In time, all your questions will be cleared up. I'll try. Now that the birth has happened, do not be surprised if you wake up one morning and find something inside of you just feels different. And do not be surprised if the whole world feels the same way, even though their reactions may not be the same as yours. Many will choose to talk about the changes they are feeling. Many more will purposely deny and ignore them. But since you are aligning yourself, you will know intuitively what is soon to transpire. And that will be Jesus announcing his presence in the world. Doesn't Scripture state that no one except God in heaven is supposed to know of his return and that it will come like a thief in the night? Yes, it is true that I am the only one who knows, but now I am telling you. And even though people will learn this from your work, when he does show up, you can bet that some will still cry, false prophet, or say that Satan has disguised himself as the holy light mentioned in Scripture. You can bet that the news of his coming will spark much debate. What the other part of the message means is that if one does not develop the Christ within themselves, because they are too busy looking outward and or skyward, then Christ will pass them by like a thief in the night. The only way for anyone to truly believe that he is who he says he is to develop the ability to recognize truth within themselves. I will tell you how to recognize not only Jesus, but any true teacher of God. Number one, if the teacher teaches unconditional love. Number two, if the teacher does not claim to be God over you, but rather helps you see that you are his or her equal in God. Dear one, you have mentioned several times now how concerned you are with what you are receiving in writing. Let me assure you that the source is a pure one. My concern is about what you will do with it. Will you close this manuscript now, never to write in it again? Or do you want to continue? I am really loving what I'm learning. Keep it coming. Good, because I have more to share with you. Jesus, like you, was born to natural parents. The purpose of his return to earth as a human is so that you can all see the Christ light in yourselves once again. And as you come to see his humanity, you will also see your own divinity. Will he begin to teach as a child, or will he wait until he is older? He will begin very early by exemplifying the childlike qualities of purity, innocence, acceptance, and wonderment. His simple ways will serve as a counterpoint to the arrogance of adults and show them how, by living their lives the way they have, their egos have been allowed to take root, grow, and bring about the chaos of today's world. Yes, Jesus will begin to actively teach those around him, sharing his genuine, pure disposition for all to see, the same as every child's before he or she is tainted with dogma, rules, and ideas of separation. When he makes himself known, many will be afraid. But let me make it clear that it is not the child they will fear. What will cause them to be afraid will be their refusal to let go of their long-held beliefs. Insofar as enlightenment is concerned, ignorance is not bliss. All ignorance does is invite fear. The most powerful tool to eliminate fear is an open mind to receive information. This is why I come, to enlighten everyone, so that you will not be left trembling in the dark. The Divine Principle Chapter, My Revelation. Right now is a good time for you to tell the dream you had so long ago, my friend. I'll give it my best shot. That is good enough for me. Before I begin, I must say to all my listeners that I'll try to convey what took place, though what I'm about to share with you is very challenging for me to put into words. One night, I had an experience that completely blew my mind. It left me no choice but to develop myself spiritually so that I can understand why I had this prophetic vision and to grasp its meaning when it came to pass. This is a record of my experience. About 18 years ago, Jesus appeared to me while I was asleep and asked me to come with him. With my permission, he released my consciousness from my body and showed me humanity's past, present, and future. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, and he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Revelation 1:1. As we began to fly away, I somehow knew it was the dawn of my new day. Once we got to our destination, I opened my eyes to find myself suspended 50 feet above the ground. Even though the sun had not yet risen, I could clearly see rolling hills stretching out in every direction, all the way to the horizon. Next thing I knew, millions of naked men appeared from nowhere to occupy every square inch of this expanse. They were divided in groups of 30 or so by long fences that stood about 3 feet high. I sensed Jesus all around me. Along with feeling comforted by his presence, I was overcome by a feeling of lightness that I knew was both powerful and significant. I knew the book of heaven had opened and God would soon cast his judgment, light, upon man to reveal his sins, darkness. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour. Revelation 8:1. I heard the voice of Jesus say to me, "Concentrate now as we look from east to west." As I did what he said, I saw that the men below were no longer naked. Those in the most easterly groups were now wearing one-pieced jumpsuits of the purest white I'd ever seen. So many of them that the line they formed seemed to stretch from north to south unto infinity. As my eyes continued to pan, I saw that the men standing behind the first row were now wearing white as well, but their suits seemed to be touched by cream. This line, too, seemed to extend from north to south unto infinity. Looking further west, I saw that the third men had jumpsuits that were creamy white also, but now the cream color seemed to be even more dominant. Row after row, this gradation of colors progressed. Casting my eyes westward, I beheld countless rows of men clad in jumpsuits of every shade of yellow, green, blue, purple, red, and black. Then, with one last panoramic sweep, I witnessed the entire spectrum of humanity seamlessly blend together from east to west. Once again, I heard Jesus' voice. Keith, look to the east and you will see the rising sun that will bring warmth and light to the world. As I was following his instruction, Jesus actually appeared and stood beside me. I was so humbled that I began to genuflect. Before I could reach the ground, he said, "Lift yourself up to me, Keith, for you are my brother." His words elated me. And then, with a wave of his hand, the Lord materialized a platform for us to stand on so that he could reveal himself to all the men below. When they saw him, they too fell to their knees. So he said to them what he had just said to me. "Lift yourself up to me, for you are my brothers, all of you." Then, as their eyes raised to look upon him, Jesus spoke his heart. "I stand before all of humanity to tell you that the time for change is here. The time for peace and the time to receive your gift of power and freedom. Blessed is he that readeth, and that they hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand." Revelation 1:3. As a sign of their thirst for freedom, the multi-hued human mass responded to his words in perfect unison by beginning to shout a mantra. Calling upon the absolute God for succor, the men thrust their arms up toward the sky, all the while continuing to chant the mantra, "Christ." It was clear to me that we were proclaiming, "We are ready. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen." Revelation 1:7. As I beheld this magnificent spectacle, Jesus turned to me and quietly said, "My brother, there is no difference between you and me. Are you willing to incarnate so that you can tell the world this truth? Are you willing to spread the word, which is God's will, to all men? Who bear record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ, and of all things that he saw." Revelation 1:2. "Write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter." Revelation 1:19. I felt so honored that I didn't hesitate for a minute. I agreed to do what my Lord asked me to do. And at that very moment, for only a moment, I blacked out. When I came to, I was quite dumbfounded to find myself wearing a red jumpsuit, standing amidst the shouting throngs, thrusting my own fists up to heaven right along with them. I intuitively knew I had become a part of the world I have now come to know. The Christed one spoke again, repeating, "I address all men. The time has come for change, so let it begin." As we rousingly acknowledged his words one last time, he vanished. But even though he was gone, I knew that he would surely return to walk among us and become actively involved with the change he had charged us all with helping him to bring about. My mind tried to make sense of the ongoing experience I was having. It was then that God the Father interrupted my feeble attempts at logic and spoke into my soul. "Behold the Holy Spirit." I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet. Revelation 1:1. As God spoke, my heart overflowed with serenity. Standing with the other men, I watched in wonder as the dove of the Holy Spirit, in the form of a delicate mist, descended from the sky and quickly began to drape the men in white. At almost the same time, a cocoon-like pod of light arose from the ground and engulfed their bodies. Then before my mesmerized eyes, they sank into the earth. I trembled with anticipation as I watched the mist rapidly advancing towards my row. The moment the Holy Spirit descended upon me and moved through me, all the fears I had ever had disappeared, and I could at long last see myself as God's love. I felt the Holy Spirit wrap me in my own finely woven cocoon of light. Then I joined the others who had already been absorbed into the earth, where we were to remain dormant until the return of the Christed One. At this point, I went through another brief blackout phase. When I awoke from what seemed like a long, deep sleep, Jesus was there to greet me. He said, "Keith, we are now inside of the earth." Indeed, as I looked around, all the men from my row above ground were there with Jesus and me in a large cubicle made of earth. Backlit by dim lanterns, the Lord spoke to me once again, saying, "My brother, I was not sure if you were going to make it through the hibernation." And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. Revelation 1:12. I asked the Lord how long we had been there. Jesus replied, "For 18 years, all the while growing our light bodies for the coming. We need to go now, for there is much work to do. Are you ready?" "Ready for what?" I replied. "The world above us is warring, engaged in its hopeless battle of separation. We, the warriors of light, have been called upon to bring about the divine intervention." Humbly I said, "I am honored to be an instrument for peace." Just then, a question entered my mind. What is the significance of our red suits, and why are other groups' uniforms different from ours? The difference is a metaphor for separation. It signifies the way humanity has allowed itself to become divided by color, class, religion, and geopolitics. But now, I am here to transform everyone through this lesson. Jesus pointed to both our garments and said, "Your suit is red, correct?" "Yes," I answered. "And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle." Revelation 1:13. In the past, the way you humans have regarded those clothed in different color suits has determined how much you have chosen to separate from others. If they had been wearing orange, you would have embraced them, because red is relative to orange. You would have considered them to be your allies. Then Jesus went on to describe how red and yellow create orange. You have always considered those wearing yellow jumpsuits to be the enemy. Why? I asked, confused. Because yellow and red have no relationship to one another in the grand illusion. I suddenly realized that the men in orange could be my allies or my enemies, depending solely on how I choose to regard them. I understood that this simple premise would hold true for my relationships with the men clad in blue, yellow, and green. As I slowly began to grasp the meaning of Jesus' words, I was mortified by the images playing out in my mind. Enemies could kill their enemies. Enemies could kill their allies. Allies from all sides could kill each other. The message became painfully clear. We are all going to die. The Lord then said, if people could see the bigger picture, the world would become a mighty planetary power and be able to assist me in spiritually illuminating the solar system. The solar system would then illuminate the galaxy. The galaxy would then illuminate the universe. The universe would then illuminate the omniverse. The omniverse would then illuminate the omniverses. From planet to solar system, from galactic to cosmic, it all starts with everyone in the world working as one. This is why I have come this time to unify the Alpha and the Omega. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. Revelation 1:8. Overcome with immense love and a sense of duty, I silently vowed my life to service. Aloud I said, we do not have to go through this. In that moment, I felt the Christ well up inside of me, and I was born. I ascended to the earth's surface at once to carry out my agreement I had made with Jesus. Every time I reflect back on that vision I had all those years ago, it makes me long to see Jesus again. But I know I must be patient. In the meantime, I do my best to focus on the good that connects people to people and all of us to God. Since I have touched the divine, since I have had the chance to see the light, I now know that our mundane vision of separation has no bearing whatsoever on the truth of what is. The truth is, God is all there is. Now we fast forward many years into the future with the writing of my next book, titled For the Love of God. This book is about my journey to South India, to be in the presence of an avatar by the name of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. What I will share with you next is from that book, a chapter titled, Oh My God. This is what transpired one day while I was on Sai Baba's ashram. It's amazing the magic that happens when one is open to see how things work on all levels, as above, so below. Wide awake, I think I'll go hang out in the courtyard to meditate and talk with people until afternoon darshan. Blessings from a holy man. On my way to the courtyard, I get the feeling that I should step out of the ashram gates for some reason. Why? I don't know. It has to be something important. Stepping into the street, I feel drawn to a little shop. Can I help you, sir? Says an Indian man with thick glasses. You surely can, I reply. What is it that you would like me to get for you? He asks. What do you think I need? I say to him, trusting that he has it. Here you go. Take this beautiful japamala for your prayers to Sai Baba. Yes, that's exactly what I want, I reply as I reach for my wallet to pay him and then walk away. What a beautiful prayer bead. It's clear with an orange tassel, like the color Sai Baba wears. On my way to the courtyard to say prayers on my new japamala, I find that I'm getting very sleepy again. But my sleepiness seems strange. I mean, at home, I take a nap every day, but not until about 3 o'clock or so. I haven't napped since I've been here. And what's odd is that this drowsiness feels like I've taken a nighttime cold medicine. Oh my God, I just got up from a nap with the most amazing experience to tell. During my sleep, I was brought to a complete state of consciousness by Sai Baba. Why now? In the dream, a small group of people, including myself, were sitting in the bleachers of a gymnasium, while Baba was standing in the middle of the court. After I got my wits about me, Baba turned his hand and created a large gold chess. It was sacred, old, and it looked like the Ark of the Covenant. It had carvings, scripture, and intricate detail all over it. Someone reached to touch it, and I advised him not to. Why not? He asked. Because this looks to be something more special than anything you and I have ever seen. No telling what kind of effect it can have on you, us, and its divine purpose, I told him. Just then, Baba chimed in to say, it's for all of us to touch together. Everyone step forward, grab the cover where you can hold it tight, and we will lift on my mark. At this point, I am so excited knowing that what's inside is going to be full of love and magic. Ready? Here we go. Lift, said Sai Baba. After the beautiful cover was off and put to the side, I began to focus on what was there on the floor. It was a solid gold nativity scene. Just then, my eyes became fixed on the simplicity of its design. Baba said to me and the group, look, what do you see? In unison, we said, we see a throne, 2 goats, and a crib. What do you think this means? Asked Baba. No one responded. At this point, he looks directly to me saying, Keith, I am going to tell you something you already know. You have known this for a while, since your birth, in fact. These 3 figurines of a throne, 2 goats, and a crib represent the return of the Christ. Yes, Keith, I am telling you that Jesus, the personality that achieved Christ consciousness 2,000 years ago, will be born again on earth in 5 months. Then the experience went to a Burger King in South Louisiana, where a pickup truck carrying Sai Baba in the back pulled up. Everyone in the parking lot knew he was coming and wanted him to help them find something they'd lost. My impression was they lost water. Baba stepped out of the truck, dug into his pocket, and threw 4 gold coins on the ground. Everyone dropped to their knees, hoping to grab one. Baba then said, "People, stand up and gain from me what you have lost." That's when I woke up, crying profusely to tell you of this prophetic message Baba just imparted to me about Jesus. After weeping for about 30 minutes, I find myself starting to get very angry with God. Let me explain. Ever since I was a young boy, I always knew that Jesus would return in this lifetime. Before I started writing The Divine Principle, thoughts of his return started to fall into my mind, as if to tell me to pay attention, because somehow I was going to be involved with it. A few years passed, and I found myself beginning to write a chapter titled The Return of the Christs. I wrote this segment with no expectation of ever including it in the book, but just to vent out fanciful ideas that seemed to be clogging my head. After a while, the chapter started taking shape and was very juicy as far as the punch, clarity, and inspiration it seemed to have. I thought to myself, this is a good chapter. Too bad because I can't use it. Lo and behold, that night, after falling asleep, I was visited by 2 angels. They spoke as one voice in each ear, telling me, "Keith, keep the chapter. There is more that will come for you to insert. We have told you ever since you were a child that the one you know as Jesus would return. Log what we are telling you and leave the rest to us." So I accepted the truth of their message and began to write the chapter with absolute conviction of the Lord's return and include it in my book. 2 years go by and I find myself in Baba's ashram with my face buried in my hands. I'm crying from my soul because Baba told me in a dream that Jesus will be born again in 5 months, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. Underneath all of that, I feel angry. Why? Because after the 2 angels told me to write and publish that chapter, which I did, it now all seems like a game which I don't want to play anymore. Who in the world would want to toy with Christian followers' love for their Lord with false information? Surely not me. To let you know how angry I feel, I find myself wanting to curse at God, Sai Baba, with words sailors won't even use. A few minutes have gone by and I'm now feeling much better about this. I've vented out all of my frustration and my concerns have been heard. Calming down, I drift into a light meditation. Okay, Baba, I need your attention here and now. This has come up yet again. If my prophetic dream was real and you told me this because I'm supposed to somehow play whatever role in the unfoldment, I will need something from you. I need to know here and now the truth. I pray on my new Japamala, knowing I have to be very clear about what I say. I need to know if what I've heard about Jesus since I was a child, what the angels told me, and now what you are telling me to be valid as I understand it. Are you telling me that Jesus is really coming back to this planet in 5 months and you want me to tell people about it? If this is the absolute truth, then show me that you've heard me. I continue to pray, Baba, what I want to know is what I've just experienced about Jesus' return valid? Is it valid? Is it valid? Over and over with great fervor I ask, is it valid? After saying this prayer for hours, I am now sitting on the concrete waiting area and I am determined to keep it up until Baba gives us his blessing. Line 3, stand up and make your way toward Kuwant Hall, says the man with the clipboard. Yes, first row. I shoot to my feet and march into the temple for only God knows what, while I continue to roll my new Japamala around in my hand. Excitedly sitting in the first row, I go into meditation. Over and over, I continue my prayer. Baba, is it valid? An hour later, something inside me tells me that my prayer is complete. When I open my eyes, I am startled by a Seva doll, someone of selfless service, is staring at me. I mean, he's right in front of my face, mirroring me in lotus position. He is so close that if he was any closer, our knees would be touching. Keith, look down, says a voice from within. Bang! A miracle happens and my heart bursts wide open. I'm looking at the attendance ID badge and it says, yes, you've guessed it, valid 2000. There is also a pin in his shirt pocket with an image of Sai Baba waving as if to say, yes, it's me doing all of this and it is valid, Keith. Saddam, why is your ID badge backwards? I asked the man with a shaky voice. It happens once in a while, he says, while turning it the right way. Bang! Another miracle. The front of his badge says he lives on number 5 Cross Street, which points to the event happening in 5 months, and today is the 5th. Cross Street relates to Jesus. The Seva doll's name is Yana, and that happens to be a spiritual name I've been going by for quite some time. What does that mean on the backside of your badge? I ask, pointing to it. Leaning towards me as if to give me a message from Baba, he whispers, that means it's valid. Oh my God, I am catapulted into heaven and feeling the most amazing bliss because of what just occurred. With Baba now in the temple on the women's side and working his way over to the men's, I am so excited that I don't know what to think or do. Now Baba is walking toward me and I know this is my moment. Is it valid? I pray a few more times, or at least until he gets close to me, as I know he is going to. Although Baba is near, he still hasn't noticed me. He seems to be busy with someone across the aisle and facing the other way. But something inside of me is telling me that this is the moment to act. So I take a deep breath, put one hand over my heart, raise up my prayer bead with the other and pray, Baba, I ask you with all of my love and responsibility for such a prophecy. Is it valid? Suddenly, Sai Baba stops what he is doing, turns around and walks straight over to me, and my heart begins to pound in my chest. Blessing my japamala, Baba touches my hand and looks me in the eyes. Bang! Yet another miracle. That's why I skipped over you this morning with your jade japamala, Keith. I set you up to give you something of great magnitude. Enjoy the ride, my son. I hear him say telepathically, as I am pulled into the universe, see the truth of Sai Baba and the truth of the prophecy given to me. Oh, dear Lord, I even see me as the personality self looking through his eyes. With my consciousness and heart now expanded, I fall deep within, experience the birth of creation, and become a sobbing mess of bliss. The glimpse Baba has just given me is so powerful and overwhelming that I'll have to leave the temple. I don't want to be a distraction to everyone else. I'll need to gain some sort of composure before I try to walk. Leaving Kuwant Hall, I'm doing whatever I can to stay in the bliss of the validation energy and just appreciate my life. Now we move to one of the final chapters in the book, For the Love of God. To everyone else, this chapter is titled, to gain some sort of Reunited. This chapter is chronologically out of order and for a reason. I want to close this book with what I believe Wendy saw in her dream vision mentioned in chapter 2. Her vision, she told me, Sai Baba is going to appear to you while you are meditating or sleeping. Just as you are falling inside, he is going to tell you something of great importance about a future event. In chapter 14, I wrote about my dream with Sai Baba and where he told me that Jesus was going to return in 5 months. In July of 2000, 5 months later, Baba came to me in another dream telling me to follow him and that he had something to show me. He led me to a mansion-type house with a huge door. I remember it all so clearly. Baba said to me, Keith, put your ear up to the door and listen. What do you hear? I hear a baby, I said to him. Right, you do hear a baby. Who do you think that baby is? Jesus? Sai Baba then winks at me and disappears, leaving me at the door alone, knowing I'd listen over and over again.
When I came out of the dream experience with Baba, all I could think of is that the house belonged to Donnie and Marie Osmond. Why? I believe this was a metaphor and a purposeful one in that it helped to create a tone and deliver a message to me. Think about it. How would most see this brother and sister? So my mind found a way to describe the pure and wholesomeness of the dream and all that it stands for, hence Donnie and Marie. The following year, during Christmas time, a very dear friend of mine by the name of Rick went to India to witness the magic and glory of Satya Sai Baba. When he returned from his trip, Ricky called me to share with me his experience on the ashram. It turns out to be probably the most powerful alignment in this book. He told me, Keith, on Christmas Day, when Sai Baba came out of his room to give us his darshan, he was holding up a sign, and you will never believe what it said. Thinking back, you told me about the dream you had on the ashram with Baba, telling of Jesus' return. Well, I didn't believe it to be prophetic at first, but at least now it has my attention. What was it, Rick? I asked. What was on that sign? Tell me before I go nuts. Keith, that sign Baba was holding said, Jesus is with us here today. Whoa, dude, I exclaimed. You know, bro, I never really gave the Jesus returning thing a second thought until I saw that sign. And the fact that it was on Christmas morning, the day which represents the birth of Jesus, made me more of a believer in what Baba revealed to you in your dream. As soon as Rick and I hung up the phone, I was flooded with feelings of bliss, not only because of the validation I got through him, but because of the sureness that yet another master is here and his light is contributing to the illumination of the planet and humanity. That night, I had another dream experience surrounding the return of Jesus, but this time, Jesus himself came telling me, yes, Keith, I am in this world now, and I am the same loving energy that came to you in your rising to the ceiling dream years ago. Every once in a while, Jesus still shows up in my dreams, reminding me of his presence again on the earth. You may be thinking, what if this prophecy is complete nonsense? I understand your concern. In fact, I think that it's a very healthy position to take. There are many people out there who want to lead people astray using false ideas to create followers to generate money. I have no interest in any of that. I am very comfortable in being wrong. I live my life in all humility surrounding such a prophecy and feel blessed just to be a part of it, even if it has a metaphorical purpose only. I want to make that very clear. In closing, I hope you take what I shared with you this evening on the Center of Light Radio with the intention that lives in my heart, that I am doing what I can to contribute to this world, that we may all live in peace, that we may all live in brotherhood and sisterhood, and that we become a global family, forever in service to the greatest good. May God live in your heart. May God live in your mind. May God live in your body. May you integrate with all that is beautiful, purposeful, truthful, and balanced. May your light shine bright in this world, that we become the embodiments of heaven on earth and fulfill the prophecy that we all came here to create.
Welcome to Center of Light. I want to share something of great significance. I did say that this presentation was going to last a while. I ain't done yet. I'm in it to win it. I just got a message on top of all of those messages of inspiration about the prophecy of heaven on earth. Yet again, just sitting here, just listening to it, using the bathroom, getting some water, topping off my cup. And if you were here for a while and you heard when I was in the temple and I had this japamala, which is the color Sai Baba wears, but it wasn't this japamala, which means prayer bead. It was another one, and I said it was crystal clear. I was going to go get this prayer bead out of a drawer to show you, like I'm doing now, but with the actual bead, to say, this is that prayer bead that was spoken about. And I forgot that recently, after 20 years, it broke. It broke. It broke a few weeks ago, but I forgot about that. And when I looked, it was broken. Here is an actual bead. Where's the bag? Here. Why did I do that? Give me a sec. Here is the bag that I keep it in. Om Saidam. Saidam can mean thank you. It can mean hello. It can mean my apologies. It can mean excuse me. It simply means Saidam. You're looking at Sai Baba's, God's, if you will, logo. It's a lotus flower, and each petal has a religious insignia. And the lotus flower in the middle signifies that God is the fire in all religion. And all religion is valid so as it does not extinguish the fire of unity. So I go into the bag and the bead is broken. After 20 years, I sit here, share with you this experience I've had. It's going to get deep. We're going to go inside. I'm going to share some things with you that I don't do for one reason only, not because I'm afraid. It's just simply not necessary. But the significance of it is why I will share as time goes by in this presentation with you tonight, which is Center of Light Master Jesus, Big Daddy, greatest world teacher. Jesus and the Gospel of Thomas. So I go into this bag and the bead is broken. And here's an actual bead off of the prayer bead. And it's crystal clear. This is how God speaks. It doesn't speak to you and say, take a right. It can, or a left. This prayer bead was broken. One of my greatest toys, thank you, Robert Harrison, has been this. Micro, macro. On this day, for this presentation, about all this magic that has happened, where we are in all of this magic, all of us. Tomorrow night I'm doing a presentation on I'm not doing it from politics. I'm not doing it from politics. So let's not even go there. I'm asking a very simple question. Donald Trump, is he a light worker? I'm not going to sway. I'm going to share. The lady who I'm going to present her video, someone sent it to me. I loved it. Contact her, says, sure, you can use my video. I'm going to play that video to you tomorrow. It's worth a simple, if you want what we all want, just listen. The end result can be the same. No one's asking anything of you. Let's look at something honestly. It's not about politics or politics. So from the micro to the macro, I have been blessed again to be spoken to. So have you. Could it be that easy? You see, the language that was laid out many years ago when I bought that prayer bead, as to why it broke significantly, and I found it broke just a moment ago, as to why that crystal ball would represent the macro, everything is on purpose, right on time. Tonight we're speaking about Center of Light Master, Jesus and the Gospel of Thomas. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Andy. He says politics and parlor-tricks. Politricks. Love the verbiage. Yeah, right? I am asking you just to listen. You don't have to believe me. In fact, don't believe me. Make me a fiction. Make me just a movie you watch in the theater that's just a whatever. A spiritual movie. Doesn't mean it's true. It's just woo-woo. So let me be your woo-woo. Boo-boo. Have you ever wondered why the Gospel of Thomas was not allowed into the Bible? Hopefully, I will shed light on the truths found within this gospel. For it is why I, Yanava, it is why I, Yanava, have come to the earth. If you were here earlier and you heard the soundbite, the audiobook, you understand. Is John the Baptist Yanava? If I'm Yanava, is John the Baptist Yanava? But said differently and asked differently, is John the Baptist the author of the Gospel of John? This is not about me. I am talking about something of a greater nature as to why you and I are sitting here together in brotherhood and sisterhood, having a relationship about that something is so monumental as this. He is also known, not me, he is also known as the Apostle John, John the Evangelist, John the Theologian, John the Revelator. He and his older brother James were both among the 12 apostles. He is traditionally considered the author of the Gospel of John. I have been thinking about doing, I'm going to leave that for later. He is traditionally considered the author of the Gospel of John. John, the oldest name in the universe in English terms, called John. Yah has so much more powerful punch. It's Yah. God's name is Amen. Yanava. Jesus Christ Sananda. Paramahansa Yogananda. When we learn of a joke and we get the punchline, that's enlightenment. We say So is always in reference to that which is in the absolute of all things. He and his older brother James were both among the 12 apostles. He is traditionally considered the author of the Gospel of John. The 3 letters attributed to John, Yah, in the New Testament and the book of Revelation. I read you a moment ago the audiobook of my Revelation. What are those 3 letters? Of course they mean letters. Lick the envelope or put a wax stamp on it and send it off. But it does say 3 letters. Ya, na, va. This is what started happening to me today. Trust me, I don't really enjoy being in this hot seat. I like being in the seat, not in the hot seat. Let's continue forward. This light is so bright, boy, my eyes get taxed really quick. Hang on, let me get my notes. right, I'm going to take a quick song break, get my waters together, and I'm going to come right back, and we're going to go into the Gospel of Thomas. You think it's a coincidence? Doubting Thomas? And if everything is a reflection of ourselves, then it's a reflection of our own doubting Thomas. That supposedly, in the Gospel of Thomas, the book that was left out of the Bible, do research. Look up Council of Nicaea in the late 300s by Emperor Constantine. Do your work. That Jesus' most prolific most important messages came through the gospel. Well, they're all important, but here to this point, the most powerful, illuminating messages from Christ himself, the man, the master, the myth, the legend, came through the Gospel of Thomas, doubting Thomas. Relationship to doubting Thomas. Powerful stuff in it. I'm learning to connect the dots just like you. Together, we are victorious. In fact, it's already done. That's the point. Tomorrow night, I'm doing that presentation on Donald Trump. So this is not about politics. The prophecy is already done. It's not a matter of whether it's going to happen or not happen. That's never going to happen. But what is happening is how you choose to play into the vision that John, the divine, which many say is the same lesson teaching energy of John the Baptist, is that it's already done. Otherwise, the vision couldn't have been captured 2,000 years ago. It means it's a reality. So the vision of that reality came from a place and or more so a space and beyond time. John was able to tap into that conscious field, that moving stream, that conscious moving river of love and life, which is eternal. So, you, I, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, everybody else, and everybody else on top of everybody else, times infinity, are all being orchestrated and moved by the divine puppeteer. If God is omnipresent, there is no other way. It's time to get out of dismay and allay all your worries and realize it's already over. It's already done. It never began. Daughter or son. You can sit for a while or you can run like hell. Maybe, just maybe, we all have been under a spell. Then set a spell. Let me share with you some more of my divine heart that loves you beyond measure. I'm going to take a short pause, going to be right back, and then we're going to get thicker. We'll get some girth into the worth of the greatest world teacher. You are loved beyond measure. Let's see, I started at 8. We're going to be here for a while. While the music plays, unless you love the music, whatever, I'm gonna be right back. Let me see what we have here, music-wise. Divine Lover. That's actually what tonight is about.
I will be with you always, until the end of time. You will never be alone. I am.
I feel you there
is my will that you know me. I will not hide my love from you. You create your reality, and every moment by your own perceptions, your judgments, actions. Peace is a state of mind. Bliss is a state of heart. Heaven is a state of being.
Deep in my heart, I know you're there. I can always feel you guiding my life to see the light that will lead me to the truth. When I create, when I feel love, whenever I feel you with me, I celebrate times of my life. There is only you and me. For you are my mother,
My soul.
my divine lover. I celebrate times of my life. There is only you and me. Help me live.
Welcome back to Center of Light. Having a good time here with you tonight. Setting all my stuffs. Hanging out with the Queen of Sheba. She's right here. My beautiful little crystal. I love this little kitty cat. Boy, she's crazy. Let me tell you. Let me show you my arms. Anyway, she has speckled the galaxy with her imprint, her paw print. On this galaxy, at least. Good to see you guys. Tonight we're speaking about Center of Light Master, Big Daddy, Jesus, Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus Sananda, the Christ principle, embodied 2,000 years ago. He didn't go anywhere. Here's something that I thought of just a little earlier. What if Jesus, this is going to be coming shortly, didn't die on the cross? Don't let it ruffle your feathers. Just hear me. What if he didn't die on the cross? Many other spiritual masters will tell you he didn't. On Friday, Jewish tradition was at 5, 6 o'clock. Everything shuts down. All things stop. He was put in a tomb. Friends got him out, and he left. He went to South France with Mary Magdalene. You don't have to like it. It's not meant to butt hurt you. But if it hurts you, ask yourself why. No one's trying to convince you of anything. Look, and you shall see. So Jesus went to South France, passed away at the age of 110. I think it's Kashmir. Either way. So tonight we're going to be speaking about the Gospel of Thomas, which is not 2,000 years old. It is, but it isn't. 2000. Jesus, according to this testament of Yanavah, the Gospel of Yanavah, which I am going to write that book. The Living Testament of Yanavah. It's not about me. 2,000 years ago. 2000. And he's come back in 2020. And now we're in 2020. Chew on that. I'm still learning. It's overwhelming. So now we're going to get into the Gospel of Thomas, which is now. It's not 2,000 years old. It's now. This is a replay in a different mask. Hello, COVID. In a different mask. Hello. Playing itself out, or rather playing itself in. But if you want to win, you have to be willing to go to rehab. Spiritual rehab from the outside world dictating to you what it thinks you should be and or do. Do you see all these little magic miracles that's happening tonight with you? I'm getting them as well. I'm not just a spiritual teacher sitting in his chair saying, listen to this. I'm getting all this the same as you. And then other things begin to happen. So tonight I'm going to read to you from the Gospel of Thomas, which is truly now. Here we go. One of the greatest books of the Bible, it just so happens this was not included. Ask yourself simply why. Not conspiracy theory, just simply why. Maybe why is because the divine wants to be hidden, because it requires everyone to seek. If you want it, and ye shall find. Otherwise, the divine becomes desecrated, just thrown out there for everybody to take a crap on. Doesn't work that way. Will never work that way. And it will never work. In any way. Anyway, it just will never work. So you have to want something. You know why you don't have that house you want? Not because you don't deserve it. Because you've done nothing for it. To show signs of wanting a something or a nothing. More so a feeling. So now I'm going to read you words from the Master, Center of Light Master tonight. Jesus and the Gospel of Thomas. Wow! And my little kitty cat is all over the place, sending me her love. Everybody like to see my little crystal? Come up, boo-boo. Come here. God is calling his disciple or disciplette. In this case, it's called Crystal. Kiki. Kiki. Crazy girl. Wow, she's nuts. I hope she settles in soon. So I'm now going to continue. And let me say hello to everybody. Let me see who's here. Cheryl Nori says, or interpret the sign differently. Kim Gary. Hey, Kim Gary. So everyone, there's a lot of comments. Thank you. I'll get to them as I need and as I'm into it. So thank you. You're loved. So moving forward, now we're going into the Gospel of Thomas from Jesus himself. The one book that was not included in the canon, or is that what's called a canon? Into the Bible. And it's so powerful from the mouth of himself. Jesus' words. If those who lead you say to you, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. Continuing with Jesus' words. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. Wow, that's like a baker's dozen. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. If you do not fast from the world, COVID-19, politics, this, that, racism, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, just absolute noise. If you do not fast from the world, you will find the Father's domain. Let me read this correctly. If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the Father. I get it. What it's saying is, it seems like we should fast from the world, but we shouldn't fast from the world, because we need to become aware of the dynamic of what's happening so we can fall back further within and process it to our benefit. Continuing on, Jesus says, if they say to you, this is from the Gospel of Thomas, not included in the Bible, make sure you go to Google and look up the Council of Nicaea, Emperor Constantine. They didn't want you to know the absolute liberated truth. Jesus says, if they say to you, where did you come from? Say to them. Jesus says, if they say to you, where did you come from? Say to them, we came from the light, the place where the light came into being and on its own accord and established itself and became manifest through their image. If they say to you, is it you? Say, we are its children. We are the elect of the living Father. Wow. Jesus says, if they ask you, what is the sign of your Father in you? Say to them, it is movement and repose. It is I, Jesus, it is I who am the light, which is above them all. It is I who am the all. From me did the all come forth, and unto me did the call and the all extend. Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there. His disciples said to him, when will the kingdom come? Jesus responded, it will not come by waiting for it. It will not be a matter of saying, here it is or there it is. Rather, the kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and men do not see it. Wow! This is happening right now. This is not just spiritual woo-woo, and I'm doing this for ratings. This is happening before our very eyes and within our own heart. In other words, that you are hearing this is you are playing a conscious, celebratory part of being validated of what's coming through this platform, saying this is actually happening right here and before your eyes. It's not in disguise, except for those who want to continue to ramble on and create scrambling and just incessant noise. Do you see? Of course you see. That's why you're here. That's why you've been hanging out for however long you have been hanging out. Ya. Ya. Na. Va. Ya na va. Yaha. Na. Vaha. John. Ya. Jesus is here. He's been here since 2020. He's never left. Came back in a meat suit in 2020. That was 20 years ago. And now we're in 2020. 2, and 4. That's 8. That's infinity. You think I'm just making this up? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm actually making it as a creator and a son of the living God that is created in the image and similitude of my Father. As I think and as I do, I create. So maybe I'm truly creating this and making it up, and everyone's believing me. It's a beautiful possibility, isn't it? I think so. I'm going to be right back. We're going to finish off. I still have some more to do as far as reading from the Gospel of Thomas. It's a little lengthy, so I got to get my pause. Just cause breathe.
Trust that I will guide you in whatever you do. Just remember to breathe and do your very best to live in love, give in love, be in love, and love you shall receive.
All my life I've lived astray, looking each and every way to be what I want to be and see what I want to see and want, knowing God is by my side. There is nothing I need to know. All the wisdom's in my soul. All along I knew the way. Time has told me every day to breathe and expand myself, to know there is no one else but me and God who's in my heart.
Welcome back to Center of Light. Tonight we're speaking about Center of Light, mastery, masters. That which is coming to a state of perfection of one's desire. Simply why? Because I love such a thing. Whatever that thing is, God, gardening, musician, it's all God, expressions of love itself. And that's what we are. We are all expressions, fractals of the beautiful, whole, perfect, clarity mirror. Is that becoming ever dearer to you? Clearer to you? Or does it scare you into fear, be more fearer? Shit scared. Power can be scary. Many past lives we have abused it. This is a different kind of power. This is a power that is not about power itself. It's about the non-power of what we used to, which is the power which we have not been used to. Subtlety, fragility, delicateness, God, softness, pink, fuzzy, grandmother's bosom, a beautiful flower, a beautiful second, minute, or hour. That shit tires above everything. The Gospel of Thomas. Jesus' words, ironically, was not included in the canon. I think that's what it's called, a canon, in the Bible. Here we go. Jesus says, the person who is near me is near the fire. Why fire? Do you think when Jesus said fire, he meant the fires of hell? Actually, that would be true. Because the fires of what you call hell is where your salvation lies when you move through it and realize that you are brother or sister in the Christhood itself. But in this regard, the person who is near me is near the fire. I am the one that transforms, becomes the lotus, the phoenix, the Christ reborn. I am the generator of that very purification process. Hello, COVID-19. Jesus says, the images are visible to humanity, but the light within them is the hidden in the image. The light of the Father will reveal itself, but his image is hidden by his light. Jesus says, when you see your likeness, you are full of joy. I have always said joy is evidence of the presence of God. And in your recognizing that is what creates the joy. But when you see your likeness that came into existence before you, that's the next one. I need to get my glasses and I can't find them. The images are visible to humanity, but the light within them is hidden in the image. Seek ye, and ye shall find. The light of the Father will reveal itself, but his image is hidden by his light. That's why I said the reason is God is so hard to find is because you can't just sling it around and throw it around and it becomes desecrated. You have to want it. When you see your likeness, you are full of joy. But when you see your likeness that came into existence before you, thy neither die nor become manifest. How much will you bear? Jesus says, Adam came from a great power and a great wealth, but he did not become worthy of you. Even the first of God's creation is not worthy of you. It is, but what it means is the evolutionary process that has manifested through many eons of time into the seed of you now blooming into your true full-fledged human self, is what this is saying. For if he had been worthy, then he would not have tasted death. I'm so digging this. There's so much. I'm going to find what I truly feel. Wretched is the body that depends on a body, and wretched is the soul that depends on these two. Jesus says, the messengers, Yanava, of the like, who are all Yanava, including yourself, the messengers and the prophets are coming to you. This is 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, in the year 2020, I went to India. Jesus was reborn on June 20th, which was 20 years ago, and now we are into 2020. Oh my dear Lord. The messengers and the prophets that are coming to you, meaning you are a prophet. You are the living testament. You are the prophecy unfolding into your most beautiful, absolute, infinite potential. The messengers and the prophets that are coming to you, and they will give you what belongs to you. And you in turn give to them what you have in your hands and say to yourselves, when will they come and take what belongs to them? Wow! This is truly right now. This is truly right now. When I spoke about God being subtle and not so robust and boisterous and bold, Jesus says, come to me for my yoke. Right up here. Yoke. Why has a yoke, which is God, the Father, the fire, the passion, the zero or the circle on top represents the wholeness. Let me repeat that. Come to me, Jesus says, for my yoke is gentle and my lordship is mild. It's subtle. It's not about brute force or being a bully or a dictatorship, a pounding your head. That's not what it is. And you will find repose for yourselves. They said to him, tell us who you are so that we may believe in you. He said to them, you examine the face of sky and earth, but the one who is before you, you have not yet recognized, and you do not know how to test this opportunity. Jesus says, seek and ye shall find. But the things you asked me about in past times and what I did not tell you in that day, now I am willing to tell you, but do not seek them. Do not give them what is holy to the dogs, lest they throw it upon the dunghill. Do not throw pearls to the swine, lest they turn them into mud. Jesus says, the one who seeks will find. The one who knocks, to that one will it be open. Ask yourselves, dear ones, ask yourselves. I am asking you to ask yourselves, why was the Gospel of Thomas left out? Do your research about the Council of Nicaea, and you will now see a different thing happening that is beyond the language you call English and or what you were taught and bought because you were sold nonsense. Do you see? Do you see? It's always been there. Under a rock. Yes, God wants you to look under the fucking rock. He wants you to take the time of no time, of wanting to move into experience which is infinite, to say, are you willing truly to recognize me? Because I am everywhere. And if you can't see me here now, you will never find me. Never. The endeavor is all about your want, your heart, your fire to say, where are you? Obviously, if you're omnipresent, you have to be here. Why can't I see you? Why? Jesus did not die. Did he? You are loved beyond measure. It's over. It's done. Prophecy wins. Love wins. You have won. Would you treat yourself that way? So what does that mean? Does it mean anything? Unless it means something to you.